Oh, wait. Yeah.
Here we are. Okay, we are live for another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin here with
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody. You guys, have you been sitting here waiting?
Yes. Thank you
We're
guys
just
so
waiting
much.
for us.
Hey,
We
look
just
at
love
that.
you guys so much.
So sweet. We appreciate you all so much for jumping in here and supporting
Absolutely.
us. And we're so excited. You know, there's as we're going through this process to bring you these lessons in chiropractic and health, it's so funny because like backstage behind the scenes, Dr. Erica and I are literally like geeking out over the lessons that we get to bring you. It's so funny. We're like, God dang it, this is so cool. So
I'm like, can you believe principle number 2 is the chiropractic meaning of life? I'm like, how badass is this profession? Like, we're in it.
Yes. We can only hope that you guys geek out as much as we do, right?
Yes. And really, we promise to not only be teaching, we'll always bring you stories. So, and I have a story. I actually just got adjusted. Fortunately for me, one of my chiropractors walked in. Yeah, one of my chiropractors walked in, and you can see my hat tee. Looks like I look like I have. I'm steamy.
Is that what that is?
See how steamy I am?
You are steamy. That's why chiropractic is sexy.
It is. So anyway, there's 3 of you guys that come in. Dr. Paula comes in when she's up here. And then I have Dr. Sharon. And then I have, gosh, is it 2 Dr. Sharons? I think it's forgive me for not knowing my beautiful friend's first name. Oh my God. She practices down in Brighton. So anyway, she comes in because she lives up here. And I just get so excited when on my arrival list, I see one of these 3 names and I'm like, oh, this is going to get so good. I get to get adjusted, which happens about once a week. So I feel really fortunate because where my office is located in Fenton, I'm right downtown, and I'm often on people's transmit line. I'm on a transmission line, and I freaking love that. So I just got adjusted. But, you know, she was one of the things that happens is that we as chiropractors, and I know you guys are along with me for my 100-day cough. It wasn't a 100-day cough, but there's something out there called the 100-day cough. So take care of your health. Anyway, we've talked about being sick on here, us as practitioners, and she was really sick. In fact, she walked in and she was like white, like see-through as a ghost. She's got super fair skin anyway, but she was like white as a ghost. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is going on? I'm like, you don't look like you're getting very much oxygen. Like that's how clear her body was compromised. And so anyway, she's like, I just have felt terrible. I've had to close the office a couple of days. And Dr. Paula and I have talked about this. Like, we don't have a plan B. Like, we don't have hey, I don't feel good today, so I can't come in. It's basically that we only can work the days that we work because we have to take such good care of ourselves. We couldn't work 6 days a week. We would be so compromised energetically, emotionally, physically, mentally, but also in our chemistry and our immune system. And so anyway, she did end up having to take a couple of days. I'm like, I wish one of us could just step in and pitch hip for that chiropractor. And maybe we'll get together and do that, because I know you have a day off that I don't have off. I have a day off you don't have off. And she works shifts too. And I'm like, couldn't we just step in?
And if she's here in Brighton, what a great little synergy we could have together.
I think so too. We'll have to connect and have a chit chat and meet up.
I would love that. I'd love to know who she is. And since she's right here. And, you know, as far as helping each other out too. So Dr. Erica has an event coming up on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I want to come up and help you because, right? I mean, put us all in the same place together.
This?
Yes.
I'm going to figure out which direction. This. There you
go. Yeah.
Well, this in the same room.
That's the thing too, is sometimes like if I have to take a day off or go out of town, so not even just from being sick, but it's like, oh my God, if I could just have one day open, right? Just to support for that one day in a week, which would be ideal to have it all covered, but But yeah, like you say, if we could get together and
Yeah.
just jump in and step in for each
Yeah.
other, it would be
Yeah. It
amazing.
would.
So
It
for
would. So
sure.
we'll have to talk about that maybe going forward just to figure all that out.
That
So
might be
hi,
something to bring up
everybody. Yeah.
in our group. So yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I was able to just jump on her table, which we are so just do an exchange. And it's like the greatest part about being a chiropractor is having chiropractors in our lives.
Well, and sadly, I'll share this with you guys. I haven't shared this much publicly, but my good friend who I was going to get adjusted, who was here very convenient to me. So Dr. Eric and I, she's about 45 minutes from my house and she's about 30 minutes from my office. So it's not convenient to get there, but I go see my hairdresser once a month, which is a minute from her
Right.
office. But my good friend who I was getting adjusted weekly, which listen, I can't live without weekly
Yeah. Nope.
adjustments, but I've been having to because he sadly committed suicide. So I'm looking for a new chiropractor because I can't get up to Dr. Erica every week. But I also recognize that the physical stress, the mental stress that we go through as practitioners, it is critical that I find a chiropractor. Now, I
Yeah.
have other friends, but that doesn't mean that they're the people who adjust me like I
As
want to be
good as
adjusted.
me.
Dr.
It's
Eric,
okay.
I
Both
know
understand.
she is badass. I have to tell you, right? So, and she was a little, she's like, you're a Gonstead doc. I don't know. Cause they call us gondroids, we're a little psycho about our
Yes.
our adjusting style. Doesn't mean I don't respect other adjusting styles. It's just that there are certain adjusting styles that don't work for my body.
Right.
And she's got strong hands. Like she commands, there are some chiropractors that put their hands on you and you're like, "Ee, ee, ee, ee." I'm like,
Yeah.
use your freaking hand. Like,
Yeah. Make it happen. Yeah.
so
Well, people feel that too. When you come in a room, I mean, I've been in practice I always say almost 20 years, but it'll be 19 years in just a couple of weeks. So I'm going on my 20th year. And people have said that to me a lot. They're like, they'll turn to me as a patient and they'll say, I feel so good on your table because I literally can tell you have me. Now you got
mhm,
my back, right? But
mhm.
they're like, I can feel just how much work you're going to do for me because of how you approach my body to begin with. And I've known that from the start, but that's the work that I did in school is that learn to approach the table, deal with the art, deal with, all that kind of stuff, but just approach the person and respectfully approach the person too. Like I'm coming in and I got strong hands, but I also know that this person just had the worst heartbreak and this person lost their dog and this one's having a baby and this one just had a baby and this is a 5-year-old. Like it's all respected of all those things. And also I really do have you. And I'm so glad that you feel that too. So
I do. I
yeah.
do. I really, really do.
Well,
So
likewise, I don't
yeah,
even have to say that, but I do
thank
have to
you.
say that it's the
Yeah,
same.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause it's, it is, and you and I both know we've had people come in and they're like, are you strong enough to adjust me? I'm
Yeah.
like, lay down, baby.
And then they leave, they're like, all righty then.
That's
I'm
right.
going back there.
Exactly. Like, whoo,
Yeah.
whoo.
Yeah.
This is actually a great conversation, but I feel like it ties into principle number 2.
It really
And
does.
so if you weren't on with us last week, we decided that we were going to take the next 33 weeks to roll out for you the 33 principles of chiropractic because they're so critical. And Dr. Erica brought up a really great point is that these principles in chiropractic have been around since chiropractic started in 1895. They have not been recalled. They have not been pulled off the market. They have not killed people.
Right.
They do not change. They are like the foundation of everything that we do. So we thought, what an important lesson. And that's where we're geeking out because we're revisiting our roots as we do this
So
for you.
great.
So,
It's so
so
good.
do you want to remind everybody what principle number 1 is that we spoke
Okay.
of last week, and then
Yep.
reveal principle number 2.
Okay, so I'm going to start with principle 1, but then I'm going to ask you a question. So you guys get your keyboards ready because I have a really, really deep question for you. Okay, principle number 1 is the major premise, which is the universal intelligence is in all matter, continually gives it all its properties, actions, and thus maintaining it in existence, which basically means it's that innate intelligence that comes through the body. That's what we're working with. We're working with the bones, but we're working truly with the nervous system that is inside of the spine, the spinal bones, and that's what's animating all of life. Are you kidding me? It's so good. It's so good. Let's have a moment for principle
see
number
what's
one.
happening here.
Okay, this is what I want your keyboards ready. Before I reveal principle number two, I want to know what you think the meaning of life is.
Oh, that's a
Yeah, we need three answers. What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? Hurry up, keyboard warriors, where are you at?
Everybody's like, I'm out.
Oh my God. It's passion all day long here. It really is. Like we do really have a ton of fun, and I laugh with my patients and I chat with them, and yeah. So anyway, it's really good. Okay.
Same. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So number two, I won't wait for you guys because quite frankly, we only have 45 minutes.
And we just stunned them. Actually, we made them speechless, which is very hard with this crowd.
They're playing possum with us.
Yeah. Happy Max says that's a huge question. I don't know. Okay, so maybe do you want to distill it a little? Do you want to?
Yeah. So I don't know. What would you say? Do you want to answer?
It is a big question. It's a huge question. So the meaning of life, I think, is something different for everyone.
Right.
And some people could say, oh, it's to, spread kindness to the world, or, have obtain world peace, or to evolve as a human. Like it's a big question. So, look at this.
Oh, good.
This is
I have to find the meaning of life. It's so true. And then right above that, Grammy Karen says, the meaning of life to me is making life better for others. That's really true. Yeah. That really is true. That really fills our cup. It really does.
So I would say the meaning of life, the answer to that is there is no right answer. It's what does it mean for you? And, what means the most to you with that? So those are great answers. Thank you.
Super great answer. And I would say the meaning of life is to live it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just to live, coherence, purpose, significance. I love that.
Love it.
To give, to serve, to love. That's really one of the things that our entire profession is built on, which is giving and serving others. But okay, so number two is thank you for all of your responses, which so awesome. Okay. I don't want to look away from the comments in case something else comes up. Okay.
I got you.
Okay. Principle number two is the chiropractic meaning of life, which the expression of this intelligence, remember we talked about the innate intelligence last week, through matter, and matter is the actual body. So the intelligence expressed through the body is the chiropractic meaning of life. And whatever that means. So we're all right? So it's our bodies are here. They're built. We may be built, but they're built up. We have this incredible vehicle. And the only difference between a live body and one that has passed away is that innate intelligence is no longer there. And so when the intelligence is moving through the body and we get to go and be out in our world doing what we're doing, all the things, whatever that is, whatever you do, however you spend your days, hopefully you're getting off your phones because that's not the meaning of life. Scrolling isn't. Thank you for being here.
Except on Thursdays at 1 o'clock.
On Thursday at 1 o'clock. But the meaning of life is truly to get out there and let the intelligence express through the body and have experiences. So, and that's what I love about it is being able to express that through the body. That's where chiropractic comes in, to express it through it easier, faster, better, with less interference, with more expression of ourselves. It's freaking magic.
So crazy. Well, and I'm thinking about, I know, yeah. That's it. She dropped the mic.
Stevenson actually dropped the mic back in 1927.
Yeah, he did, for sure.
We're just here to,
We're regurgitating the information. Well, so I'm thinking about this in the sense of that innate intelligence beginning and then ending, right? So we had this conversation a few weeks ago with regards to the beginning of life and
Right.
how two cells come together, literally two cells, like microscopic cells coming together and starting to divide in such a way with such perfection that it forms us. And if we think about that, we have these two cells, they come together. Well, these two cells, they have their own level of intelligence here, but it's the innate intelligence inside of the mother that starts to direct that. And then it starts to take a life of its own and it develops its own nervous system. And then once that nervous system starts to develop, it can then, that's when its innate intelligence is breathed into it.
Right.
And then it develops in the mom. And now suddenly, we have a human.
Right.
So it's so fascinating to me when people want to try to explain the beginning of life and the end of life with science. That's unexplainable. Okay,
Yeah.
we can explain two cells come together and they form the mulberry and they like
they form a mulberry and then mulberries become bigger.
Yeah, it's explainable in words.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say that. It's explainable in words. Science, I'm not. It's pretty much intelligence, human intelligence, much like I equate this to animals. So animals in the wild, they birth their babies. The babies know how that the baby needs to, the pups need to know where the mother's nipple is to get its nutrients. Like, how do animals know to do that? That's innate intelligence, you guys.
And
the perpetuation of life.
Did we forget that we are animals?
Yes. Yeah.
We are that. The things that we're so fascinated with outside of here is like, we are animals. We just are a higher consciousness than a lot of them. So yeah, it's incredible. It's all those instincts that we see as we call animal instincts that's the same.
We forget we're animals, right?
Yep.
I did an interview with Katya Dimitrieva. She's my friend. You know Katya, I think.
Yeah.
She's a intuitive life coach, and she's amazing. She's so tapped in. And so we had this conversation about intuition and what that means for us and where does that come from and how do we find it. And I think it's the same with innate intelligence. It's so easy to lose sight of the fact that we have, so innate is intuition. It's in us. It's part of us. And we lose sight of the fact that it lives in all of us as animals. Animals have intuition. So do we. We just get bombarded with the world around us. And we let too much noise out there get in the way of what needs to happen inside of our bodies. And we call that, as chiropractors, we call that interference. And so the body is designed to perform with perfection. It just needs no interference to do so. Right.
And just to piggyback on perfection, like even when it's performing with interference, it's still in innate's perfection, working with, adapting to, working around, assimilating, trying to work with that interference. So the beautiful thing about the adjustment is that we just look to make sure that that is as interference free and as clear as possible, because innate is it's really amazing. And I think if we don't take a moment to look around, look at our hands, look at our bodies, we won't go to sleep at night, wake up in the morning, we go out in our world. Like if we don't take a moment to realize how miraculous that is, I think we're missing most of the point here, which is basically like, we're so just, bombarded by stuff that doesn't, I'm trying to keep my swear words to a minimum, stuff that doesn't matter.
Well, it's, so I'll share a story from this morning. I had a patient who's been a patient of mine for about 20 years. A few years ago, she was in a near fatal car accident, and she's young. She's, early 50s, super young. Okay. So
yeah.
So yeah.
I love that.
Right. And, you know, she's somebody she would come in regularly and then she would not. And then she would, I mean, she's mostly come in regularly, but, you know, not super consistently. But she gets into this car accident, you know, a few years ago. And today she comes in, she had an MRI and a CT scan because she's got really bad tinnitus and she's getting numbness in her arms again. She's getting the hump on the back of her neck. She's getting, you know, she's having pain if she raises her arms and then her arms go numb. Like, it's bad stuff. Mm-hmm. So she went and she got it checked out, which is great. And then she said that I have the MRIs right here. It says post-concussion syndrome. And she told me that she told her primary care doctor, she was like, why did I stop the supplements that Dr. Paula told me to take years ago? Because this is what we know, right? So we are trying to get you guys to live life with the least amount of interference. We're going to have interference. There's no question.
Right.
But how do we get you to live with the least amount of interference? So one of the things is getting her back on track with her adjustments, because she knows she fell off track there. She's like, I've got to get back in. I've got to get regular again. I've got to get back on these nutrients. Well, she had some testing done by her primary care physician, who happens to be somewhat integrative, somewhat holistic. And she said, well, her primary care physician said, well, your labs look fine. There's nothing here that signifies that you need a detox. You guys, this world
needs a detox.
Needs a detox.
This world needs an enema.
I go, are you kidding me right now? I'm like, tinnitus, numbness, tingling, all the things that are getting worse. I'm like, you're inflamed. She's carrying extra, you know, she probably has 20, 30 pounds of extra weight on her. Like, all of that is inflammatory. It's toxic load. So I don't care. And I told her, I go, I don't care what that test says. You are toxic. You need regular adjustments again. And you need a detox, period. Let's get rid of the interference. Let's take off the table the things that we know that we can remove. Right. And then if something more serious is there, like, let's, again, control what we can control. But, you know, your life is designed to, your body's designed to function beautifully. Again, it just needs no interference. Right. That's my rant and my story for the day.
Yeah, no, it's really true. Just the inflammatory response that the body does in an accident like that, if that's not then tended to down the road, and that doesn't mean with pharmaceutical medications, it just means your body so pick up this laptop right here and smash it on the ground. That's what a car accident is like to the body. And I think we talked about this last time. Then the body's so busy trying to check in with everybody, like everybody's okay. And then, but if it doesn't get a reset inside of like, whoa, what just happened? Then it's in this mode, this hypervigilance, and that builds up lactic acid. It builds up our toxicities. Then we don't feel good and our brains don't feel good. And we can go for comfort foods and inflammatory. And then it just goes in that cycle. And so, yeah, we all need to detox, and we need to think about that every day. One of the easiest things, and I know Dr. Paula and I have talked about this before, is, you know, our liver is the first place that everything detoxes through. Just give yourself a little detox tea. Like, you don't have to go through like a full liver detox protocol. I mean, that's something too, but it's like, give your body a regular detox of the world. Take some deep breaths, start a meditation practice, get adjusted, like those kinds of things, and help your body work with this, because it's going to do whatever it can with what it's got. Give it better things to do what it's going to do with what it's got.
Yeah, I love that. Give it better things. Yeah. And even like digital detox, right? So except for 1 o'clock on Thursdays, digital detox.
Stay here. Right. Set your alarm, wake up on time, get here.
Right. Kenny woke up. Kenny's here, so that's good. Yeah. So, you know, detox can come in so many different forms, right? Mm-hmm. So, but making sure that you have to look at all those different pillars in your life, and that it isn't just, I'm eating like crap and I'm not getting adjusted, but maybe it's maybe it's an attitude adjustment. We always make those jokes in our offices, right?
Yeah.
Especially when parents bring their little kids in and they're like, he needs an attitude adjustment.
Yeah.
So we always give kids the attitude adjustment.
That's right.
But that's something too, is paying attention. How are you expressing toxicity into the world by the things you're saying, by your actions? Can you be more kind? So can you say thank you and please? I have this thing, I don't know, this isn't detox worthy, but it's something that really bothers me. And I wish, like, to me, I'm like, can we all just spread a little more kindness?
Right.
And the easiest way to spread kindness in the world is by saying hello and thank you in your emails. Okay. If you slide into my email and you just go, can you take care of this? I'm like, can you just like
say hello?
Like, I am ready to punch the computer when you do that. Anybody out there who's you, right? Yeah. Can you take care of this? Yeah. Can you say hello? Hi. I'm not your bitch. Like, hi and thank you. So I reply with those. Hey, happy Thursday! Exclamation mark. Thanks for sending this over. I'll take care of it right now.
Thank you so much.
I'm like, oh yeah. I go over the top with it because I'm like,
so funny.
So that's my passive aggressive way of telling you, you're not being kind.
Yeah.
Put something better out into the world, right?
I agree.
Right.
They actually, even just going around, maybe even try this weekend as we're in Thursday already. Go around in your world and just add a little touch more of a cherry on top of what you're doing, like just a little bit more. See what kind of difference it'll make. It'll make a difference not only in your own mind, but just add a little bit. And actually, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I was saying that when you smile and you actually have like the wrinkles in the side, there's something that is even more appealing to those around you when you smile and you express those wrinkles there.
You smile with your eyes.
Yeah.
Smile with your eyes, right?
I wanted to circle back for a minute to something you said about attitude adjustment. So I'm going to share a story. In my undergrad, I was so I started at Michigan State, go green.
I know Bill will agree with you on that.
We love this. We're so yin and yang. We're so yin and yang.
Right.
The best part about us.
What were we yin and yanging about? Oh, our peppermint and our
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, then I started at Michigan State. Then I went out to Boise State, and I went to Boise State University. And then my bachelor's degree is from University of Alaska. I was in Anchorage for 3.5 years. And when I was there, I was looking for a job, and I ended up getting hired into a chiropractic office. It was actually not online. It was an actual flip book of job postings that I don't know how this counseling office kept up with that crap. I don't know how we ever did that. But it said, looking for work in my office 15 hours a week, 15, 20 hours a week. Sandra told DC, and I was like, oh, DC, like, I got to get in there. And so I called her and got hired. And anyway, I had this favorite family there that would come in. It was 5 adopted children. It was I think I had 2 moms and 5 adopted kids. But they would call and say, hi, and I wish I could remember the names. Hi, this is so-and-so. Is it okay we come in for our attitude adjustments? Like, that's how they would actually make their appointments. And they would come about every 3 weeks. And it was such a great way for them to just stay ahead of it. But they literally would call. I was her receptionist. They would call for that exactly. And this was so I moved to Alaska in 98 through 2001. So this was many, many years ago. People were really understanding that it affects everything. And that when the expression of this intelligence has more ease through moving through the body, that it really is an attitude adjustment. And don't you have a story about somebody who was like, I don't want to say that they were like abusive at their home, but I think, or it's like, there's so many stories in our practices where people are like, dad's nicer now, like mom's nicer now.
Yeah.
And
it was the guy who said his wife was about to divorce him. because he didn't realize what an SOB he was being to her and the whole family, because he'd been in pain for so long. He just lost sight of the fact that he was in pain, and it was expressing, he was taking it out on his loved ones, and it almost cost him his family.
Yeah.
So it's really, doing those self-assessments is really important.
Yeah.
I wanted to address this really quick, Shawnee, because this is also really common. So the patient that I was talking about earlier, who was in the car accident a few years ago, she actually had a fracture up in her upper cervical. And thank God she was not paralyzed or, quad, para, any of that. But so she, we waited for that to heal. And then she started coming back in, gave her a few weeks, but she was like, oh my God, I can't wait to get my neck adjusted again. So it's just being very careful and very mindful. So even, if your husband is in this accident, and how many people have we seen with healed spinal fractures? I mean, we have them all day long. Mm-hmm. So this does not preclude him from going to see a chiropractor. And the medical doctor, like you're saying, they said it'll go away with time. How about when you're in a rollover accident and, like Dr. Erica said, that's taking that computer and slamming that down? How about you go to the chiropractor or the computer store and they start to put the pieces back together for you, rather than just waiting for them to migrate back? Because now what's going to happen is everything is going to heal out of alignment, causing more scar tissue, more damage, more inflammation. He's probably going to be in pain for the rest of his life. So I would highly recommend you find him a chiropractor if he doesn't already have one, but get him to a chiropractor. And there's tools that we can use that that are gentle. So,
your activator.
Yeah. We have the activator that, it's a beautiful thing tool for cases like this. So
for lots of different things. And the other part is that, okay, so that accident for your husband, first of all, I'm glad he's okay. And that accident happened in a flash moment. And it's a force came into the body that the body could not manage that level of force. It splints and it holds, and all the muscles contract around all of those areas. The adjustment does not one time fix all that. Okay, so the adjustment itself comes into the body to work with what's available on any given day. So for instance, his spine was fractured and had a brain bleed. That means, to a good chiropractor, we don't go in aggressively after these areas. We work with the rest of his body to begin with. We figure out what's going on up here using light tools, light adjusting, hold, sustain. I'd like to find him a chiropractor. You should. And if we can help, I don't know, where are you?
Where you're at.
Yeah, tell us where you are. We start with unwinding the onion, right? So we have one peel back. It's why you'll see a chiropractor initially 2 to 3 times a week to get this onion a little bit more available for care. In Minnesota, what part of Minnesota? It's a big state. But we might know somebody. And then definitely, I mean, in my, no green. In my view is that he probably should be seeing a PT or a personal trainer to start to get mobility back in any way that they can, and working with his level of availability on any given day, because it's going to be different. And as he heals, some of that pulls back away, some of it more pulls back away, and it stops the splinting. And then he'll eventually get his range of motion back. We have miracles, like beyond stuff that you would not believe if we told you, that happens, that of people healing through chiropractic care, through their own visualization, their own mindset. Of course, eating well, anti-inflammatory, those kinds of things too. So, but we can all work together. We have to increase the range of motion there as soon as we can, safely.
Yeah. And we, taking him through that process is really important to, I call it all hands on deck. So
Yeah. Yep.
get them to the chiropractor and listen, just about any chiropractor is going to be well skilled with handling injuries like that.
And if they say they won't, find another.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly.
looking.
I've had people come to me and they're like, yeah, the other chiropractor said they couldn't help me. And then I take the x-ray and I'm like, why? I don't know. So I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's really important to recognize also that when you have an injury like that, so if we go back to innate intelligence and the intelligence that runs through the physical body, is every time something happens like that, if you have a dimmer switch, you turn the light down just a little bit more until the light is off. Now you're sitting in that room and I come in and I hand you a book and I go, okay, here, I need you to read this book. And you say to me, but I can't read. Well, why not? Well, it's dark in here. Oh, well, you should be able to read anyway. And then you're like, and you're squinting and there's a little crack of light coming through the window and you're like, oh, I can kind of read that. That's what his body is doing. His body is innate is attempting to express with a little crack of light coming through the window to read that book. Right. And so when you start with your chiropractic adjustments, each one is a tiny little turn of the dimmer switch. The light starts to come back on. And then his body's like, oh, yeah, now we can communicate. We can do what we need to do. So it's so important to think of it beyond neck and back pain for him, is that you have to get him expressing light.
As light again. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. The other, I was just thinking about that as you were talking about it, and I'm probably going to totally lose what I was thinking about, but the innate expression, the body's expression through what he has right now is a limitation inside of the matter in the actual body. Like he's had a major injury. And that innate intelligence is trying to work through that. And I did remember what I was going to say in regards to this is that, okay, so he went to see an MD. Thank goodness for them. Thank goodness for emergency medicine, for surgery capabilities, for all the technology there. I do have to say this one thing, and I will blanket statement, then I'll stand behind this. If you have a medical professional, an MD, a DO, a physical therapist, of anybody that says you should not see a chiropractor, they are trying to practice chiropractic without a license to do so. We don't ever say don't see your MD. So I hope in return that when you do find that, you need to look for, first of all, be your own health advocate, find a chiropractor anyway, and then educate that doc that there's ways around all of these things that have happened to the body. And the physical therapist too. Like I refer out to physical therapy all the time. In the reverse, that doesn't always happen because of their limited beliefs of what they can and cannot do, and also what we are doing and not doing. MDs don't understand what's going on in a chiropractic office. I don't understand what's going on in the MD's office. I'm super happy to have them in this world. PTs don't understand what's going on in a chiropractic office. I don't understand what's going on in a PT office. Same across the board. I'm so grateful to have all these people, all hands on deck, like Dr. Paula said, and don't let anybody tell you you can't see somebody, because that is exactly what you need to do. And if they tell you that, they're practicing chiropractic in ways that they're not supposed to be, and that goes against their licensure. Much like if an MD prescribes a medication, I can't say, don't take that. That's out of my scope. So I would never say that. I would say, if I was in that position, I would begin to question blah, 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 blah. That's how I would address it. But I can't do what they do. They can't do what we do. And we can all work together. So be sure you're being your own advocate and keep pushing through it. And I will stand behind that. I will stand solid in that ground. Don't do my work. I won't do yours.
Ooh. Whew.
Mic drop. No, it's a real thing out there. It's a real thing.
It is. That was beautiful. It was so succinctly said. Don't do my work. I won't do yours.
Yeah.
It's so true. And
let us work with the nervous system.
This is about getting you well.
Well,
So
period.
what if I know, listen, I was a PT for 5 years before I became a chiropractor. I was a personal trainer. I've been through all the different disciplines that I'm going to send you to besides medical doctor.
Right.
But if I have a medical doctor who knows how to do things that I can't holistically,
Right.
or even if, again, I have a patient and we're looming on surgery, but we've kept him away from surgery for 20 freaking years. So, I have not minced my words when it comes to, we might be looking at this. So, this is the ability to tell people where they need to go when they need it.
Right.
And utilize all those things, all hands on deck. How many of you out there, and Erica, how many times have you heard this, where patients finally come to you and they say, my medical doctor, my DO, my PT told me I shouldn't come to the chiropractor, but eventually they weren't able to help me anymore. They told me I had to live with it. They told me it was a natural part of aging.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought, well, you know what? I'm already in pain. I might as well go try.
Yeah.
Like, that's how terrible. We could be helping so many more people if we worked in synergy together.
For sure. Q squared. So she says, how do you mean they're practicing chiropractic? It just means, so if I'm a chiropractor and I say you should take this medicine or you shouldn't take this medicine, that's me practicing medicine. So if they say you should or shouldn't go to a chiropractor, I mean, if they say you should go, that's awesome. And if they say you shouldn't go or you can't go, or because of your condition, don't go, that just means that they don't really know what's going on in my office anyway. And that's them practicing chiropractic without. Yeah. So does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. It's a really great question because it does get confusing, but especially because we're all out here in the healthcare field. So a lot of people just think everyone knows everything about everything, and we don't. Oh my God, I went in for heart surgery. In 2019, I had heart surgery. Because I'm a chiropractor, they did not take me through the conversations. So I had to get a scope put down my throat and an EEG done, and TEE, transesophageal echo. So they're like, okay, we're scheduling for a Tuesday morning, and I was going to work Tuesday afternoon. And they're like, well, you can't work this afternoon. And I'm like, I don't do cardiology. Could you have told me? I've been asking these questions, and I would call and say, okay, what am I going to feel like afterwards? Can I go into work at 3:00 if my procedure's at 7 a.m.? They don't know that I don't know. And most of the regular population doesn't know that we don't all know about everything, about all the other professions too. And I was like going into a lot of my heart surgery blind, because they're like, oh, she's a doctor. Just whatever. And I'm like, no, I want to be treated. I want to be treated, and I want to be told, and I want to be educated, and I want all the things, because this isn't my specialty. And
even if you're a MD and you're practicing family medicine,
yeah,
you know about cardiology? Yeah,
no.
You know about heart surgery.
No.
Oh, I'm supposed to know what's going to happen if you replace my hip now? I have no idea.
I know.
Yeah, communication is so critical. Yeah.
So
I think we need to answer Joe's question real quick before we sign off. So he was asking if we recommend CBD, cannabis, or mushrooms to help with pain if extreme issues. So I personally have had, I have many of my patients, they use CBD, they use cannabis. I haven't had anybody doing any of the microdosing yet. I don't know, Erica, you could probably answer that. But I mean, my really one comment is there's not necessarily harm in it. And actually, as far as it comes to the microdosing and the medicinal mushrooms, there's a lot of data behind it. No. I don't know enough about it to feel comfortable recommending it or taking it myself, but there is a lot of really positive data around how it's helping certain populations of people, right? Again, I don't know, is it great for everybody? I'm not really sure. What do you know about that?
Yeah, so that's where it's such a great question. And we love having these kind of questions because we don't necessarily have an answer that we could blanket put out there, right? So we do have cannabis companies coming to us as professionals to host their products in our office. And then, then it was good to do that. And then it was actually against our licensure to do that. Now it's back okay to do that. I don't want to mess with too much as far as chemistry, except for I do Dr. Paula does functional medicine. I refer out for functional medicine. I do basic supportive supplementation, but I do have to say that when people come to me and they do ask me my personal opinion or my professional opinion about cannabis, CBD, or mushrooms, what I tell them is that I can tell you if it's grown, it's going to be better for you than a synthetic product made in a lab. So that is across the board a blanket statement that I would make. And especially like cancer treatment, end of life stuff, if they're coming in for chiropractic care, they're getting to the end of life for comfort measures. Some of those things are awesome. We do have a cannabinoid system in our body, which loves having cannabis in the body. Blanket statement, though, it's really hard to say. And so I would just careful on this subject. Yeah, exactly. I would just share my personal experience with it, which is very limited. So as a professional, I don't necessarily say a whole lot or recommend a whole lot unless someone says, would you or would you not? And then I would take their situation into consideration, provide them with more information, or even a company that looks to us, and get them connected that way. I really think it should be a little bit more part of our regular world, and the world is pushing so much for those things. And I think there's a reason for that, is that they're effective for a lot of people and that it's a better option than some other things. So it's a really great question. And I really don't have enough of my own experience to recommend, right? So thank you for asking that.
Yeah, it's really good. And I'll just want to spring off of that real quick, is that it's like anything else in the sense that you have got to know the quality.
Yeah.
So because it's a relatively unregulated industry,
Right.
it's like supplements, right? You could go to CVS and buy something that's really crappy, or you can come to me or Dr. Erica and buy something that's very high quality. So if it's a place you're going to venture into, make sure that you know the quality. If you're going to work with somebody, a practitioner who's skilled in that, make sure you know their background. I will have to say, though, that when it comes to cannabis, if you are smoking it, I'm going to tell you to stop, because it's still putting smoke in your lungs. So there are other ways to get those cannabinoids into your system for benefit, and polluting your lungs with smoke is not the way. So
and vaping.
Yeah,
Do your research on those things.
If you are puffing on a vape pen and then telling me you don't know why your health is in the shitter, I'm like, I literally want to just tell you to go look in the mirror, because you absolutely know, period. Like, you know. So I do have some pretty hard rules about that. So.
Yeah, we do have hard, and really it's mostly what we do with our lives, truly. And we're just really health proponents, and we're really, really into all of that. So anyway, just wanted to wrap up because I got to go see my tiny baby.
Yeah. So thank you guys again for being here. Great questions today.
So great.
We
think
always
about the meaning of life.
What's that?
Meaning of life.
Oh yeah. Do you want to repeat it one more time?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the principle number 2, the chiropractic meaning of life, which is the expression of intelligence through matter, is the chiropractic meaning of life, which is basically you sitting there, being in your body, doing what you're doing, being with us, being in the world, experiencing. Nice. It's truly the meaning of life, and we love helping to express that better. Next week.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say next week too. We have 2. We're going to do 2 next week. One is because we have Roberto Monaco coming on Tuesday, and it's going to be a longer one. So that's going to be here, and then we'll be back with principle number 3 on Thursday. Always, we'll just stick in this time frame for sure. So know that we'll be here for you.
And you're going to love Roberto. So set your calendars or hit the notification for Tuesday at I think it's 1 or 1:15, but I'll have that up here shortly. So thanks everybody for joining us. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. See ya.